the number one thing that is currently unaliving my character in Act 2 as an Invoker monk, because I have ascended, is unironically a system that was put into place to help the player, believe it or not. The auto-aim, auto-targeting, auto-lock system. I'm not sure what it is. I don't know if I can turn it off. I've looked. There doesn't seem to be a turn-off option for it. But as a melee user, it is quite frustrating to target on someone with your left click and holding your button down and have that minion walk away from your bell or move past you with an ability and ultimately causing you to not use your bell to do AoE damage, which is then, of course, meaning you do no damage. And no damage means everybody stays alive, and if everybody stays alive, you fall over. So that's kind of what I've been experiencing as a melee user. I'm not sure if that's the same for you folk, but as an Invoker monk, it definitely has plagued me. Maybe it's the WASD setup that's causing it. Maybe I should switch back to the original. By the way, this is a boss fight, a big boss fight. If you want to preserve your virgin eyes, by all means, close them. Or enjoy the actual fight itself if you don't mind being spoiled, because it is a pretty solid fight. Multiple phases, love it. But yes, we are currently playing the Invoker Monk, and in Act 2 I have been trying to experiment with some different skills, but ultimately I kind of went back to auto-attacking with the bell, but as opposed to using the quarter-step strike, we have gone with the Tempest Flurry, of course, which is basically an auto-attack, but allowing me to do some more lightning damage, some shock applications, and all that good stuff. And the damage is fine once we have everything going and the bell up, but outside of the bell it's really, really bad right now. This is also partially because my gear is not very good. Now, ironically, that is solved at the end of this video, because I do drop a nice rare weapon. My very first big rare drop, in my opinion, so that's very exciting. A quarterstaff, very nice. But on top of that, nearly died there, whoops. But on top of that, I also feel like we're playing Ruthless. Has anybody noticed that? It feels very dry, which makes problem solving for your characters or trying to improve your gear very much a problem. So that's been a bit of a struggle as well. And on top of that, I have not been able to find a lot of gear with sockets, so I don't have sockets on my gear, nor can I put sockets on my gear because I have not been able to salvage gear with sockets, which means that I don't have the runes. I think this is part due to the lack of drops that have been happening in general. But the rune system was kind of put into the game to help you solve problems like, oh, you need a little bit more resistances, here's a socket, here's a rune, pop off, right? But I have not been able to get sockets. I have plenty of runes now, all kinds of runes, all colors and shapes and sizes. Well, they're all the same color, but you get my point. I have the runes, I just don't have the means to put them onto my gear. I wonder if that's just a me issue or if that's like a universal experience right now. On top of that, in terms of the actual passive tree, I did spec mostly into defense. I've slowly gone into crit now since I've picked up my ascendancy as well. At the end, there will be a actual little showcase of my of the passive tree and such, if you are looking forward to that. I do, however, not recommend doing much of anything that I have done because it's mostly experimental, but you can see what I've killed the boss with. So if you have something better than me, then you should be able to defeat the boss here as well. It's not that difficult. The main thing that kind of was holding me back is, of course, the problem that I've been having with the bell and the mana issues. I did spec for some like mana reduction and mana recovery, but even so, not using auto attacks and just trying to use the flurry with the bell, and of course debuffing the boss with the Chula, Fist of Chula, I believe it's called, the pink ability, which you can link your marks and curses to, which has been quite lovely. You can apply curses by using attack speed as opposed to cast speed, and as a melee unit, of course, very, very nice, like a curse on hit kind of thing. It's been quite struggling to maintain good levels of mana, but maybe I should get like a different mana pot. Which, for the record, mana pots and health pots constantly drop. They drop so many times. I wonder if they drop so often and so frequently. I'm actually wondering if there perhaps is a bug where they accidentally reverse the values of dropping, where, you know, you're supposed to maybe get more gear, but they accidentally gave you the numbers of the flasks and vice versa. It's a tinfoil hat moment, I know. I'm sure they will address it either by saying this is what we intended, or simply addressing the actual drop numbers, because it does feel very dry. But having that said, though, other than the problems and lacking the tools to solve them, the overall experience is going to be there. I do think that Flurry is going to be a hell of a trigger once we get it done with Cast on Shock, which is going to be soon. And we are also going to be able to maintain mana as well as life with the supports called Thief of Life, or Life Thief, and Soul Thief, or Mana Thief, or whatever it is. These are like higher tier supports for some reason, sadly. But once we have those, we should have pretty much all the sustain we could want, and then we can deeply spec into like more damage or active defensive layers. I'm actually looking into something like Lucidity, or if I really want to go all the way, Mind Over Matter. Lucidity is like a partial Mind Over Matter on the tree, relatively close to us, which allows us to buffer our health and energy shield through mana. And if we're constantly auto-attacking to get mana, or using an attack that is basically an auto-attack to continuously get mana, then that might actually be quite good, because then we have evasion, we ultimately will have some PDR, we will have Ghost Shroud, we will have all kinds of layers of defense that should allow us to do some good work into melee. Because right now, though, in Act 2, if you don't have a ranged ability, I do really feel like it is significantly more of a struggle, especially Sanctum 1, or Ascension 1 as well. Like, I went in there as a melee unit, I got my butt absolutely kicked. But when I went in there just with Glacial Cascade, or the lightning one that I have, whose name I forget, it's my right click right now, you actually just completely stomped it, which has been interesting. It is such a fundamental difference between ranged and melee. Maybe we should become a ranged monk. We do have the means. There are different types of ranged attacks, so maybe that's it. Maybe I should just level as a ranged monk until I get the cast and shocks and such. But yeah, we're about to get a nice item, and I think that's a good end of the video as well. We will be looking at the passive tree, because like I said, I did pick up mostly defenses. Here we have some of my gems. The Orb of Storms, the Flurry. The Storm Wave is the ranged attack I just mentioned that I forgot the name of. But yeah, it's all basically Tempest Bell and triggering Tempest Bell with either the Flurry or the auto attack in and of itself. That's pretty much all you have to do. Here's my basic passive tree. Or passive tree, as you can see, I'm trying to go into more crit, but I mostly spec into defenses and utility. And I'm actually looking to get into that quarterstaff right there at the bottom. It looks like there's a lot of good notes here with accuracy, more crit damage. Dexterity is pretty nice. Attack speed is going to be huge. The power charge at the bottom right here, one with the storm, could also have some incredible leverage, because there's a skill that makes you turn into a Star Wars character, basically. And I think there might be a lot of power behind that makes Flurry actually really, really good. So we're going to work on that. But other than that, yeah, I'm looking forward to day 3. Hopefully you guys have had a better experience. Day 2 has been the roughest one for me so far. Act 1 was definitely easier. So I can't wait to see what Act 3 holds for me. But yeah, there it is. There's my my new... Oh, also a new unique shield, of course. But there's my rare weapon. As you can see, physical damage, some accuracy, some attack speed, a big elemental damage with attacks. This actually fixed most of my damage moving forward, so looking forward to the next video. Day 3, we are on our way.